Yeah. I was asking, what's up, man? I was thinking about you yesterday. I was thinking, where the hell is Leo? How dares he to miss one of my streams? What's up, buddy? How you doing? Got it. Good. That's good, man. You should take a break sometimes and just have fun for sure. Yeah. You know how they say, there's a first time for everything, right? Good to have you here, man. Good to have you here. Thank you for coming. All right. Yeah. So you saw that I recorded a new video today. There's something off with my settings here. Actually, that's super weird. What the fuck is going on, man? Give me just 2 seconds here. Well, new theme, we'll see about the new theme, right? I'm always having a hard time getting used to, right? So we just might as well go to this. It doesn't really matter, right? It's just, yeah, it's just how we execute things, right? That it's gonna be different now, right? The theme-wise, we'll see, right? That's less relevant. Okay. Cool. All right, so should I zoom in a bit? I guess I should zoom in a bit, right? All right, that's not what I wanted. Give me a second. It's just that F11 now doesn't properly. Okay, give me a second. Yeah. Then let's do this. Okay, great. So yeah, so let's get started today somewhere, right? Jesus Christ, why does it ask me the same shit every time? All right, so what I'm gonna do, we're gonna start somewhere today, just building some stuff. And actually what I started already was this type of thing where you actually get a preview of your profile, part of your profile right beneath here, as you can see. So now if you're changing your avatar, you can actually see how it's gonna look like next to your profile and stuff, right? So I think that's what we're gonna start with. I'm gonna close some of this stuff and I'm gonna go over here. So we have this thing right here, right? So I'm gonna maybe say my8. Is this the right thing? No, it isn't. So I'm gonna go, I guess, over here, right? And I'm just gonna push those things a little bit, so when you're actually doing this, you can kind of see. Let's maybe, I don't know, just we should probably say, give me 2 seconds, maybe here we should say preview or something. Or maybe that's already apparent. I don't actually know. Or maybe, give me a second. Wow, that's a little bit weird, isn't it? Okay, I see. All right, yeah, so something like that right now. Yeah, we'll see about it in a moment. Give me a second. Oh. Right, exactly. And let's just say here, let's just get rid of this. And let me just take a look at this. I see what's happening. Okay. I see what's happening. Okay, never mind. So that's actually fine. I think the only thing I'm actually going to do here, right, is this, and we'll have to change this slightly bit in a moment. So I'm actually going to do this. That's okay. We'll just do P4. Oops. I'm going to do P4 in here. It's great. And I think the problem right now is, I suppose, give me a second. No, actually, so it seems okay. Okay, that's fine. So the only thing that we need to do is ensure that we actually, so we're gonna do two things. First, we're gonna wrap this bad boy in a div, and then we'll conditionally render this whole thing, right? And now this fella over here, we're gonna say PB2 or something like that, or PB4 as well. And that is great, right? Yeah. All right. Cool. And now I'm thinking now with this new VS Code setup, right? Let me actually try one thing. Give me a moment here. So what if I, Leo, you're gonna have to tell me how it is. So what if I actually put myself over here, maybe? Is this too awkward, Leo? A lot better. Okay. Awesome, and that's good to hear. So let's maybe try that. You know, maybe we should experiment more like that. Now we can see the code and not your face. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, I actually thought you're gonna say the opposite. I thought you're gonna say, now we can actually see your beautiful face, motherfucker. All right, cool. All right, so let's go back to this, right? So I like this pretty much now, almost. Now, does this indicate that the preview? Yeah, I mean, do we actually need this preview? Yeah, so maybe we can leave that like that, right? Okay, so that's so when it comes to this thing, I think that's pretty fine. The only thing now left for this type of thing is actually the only thing really left here is is finalizing this thing that we were refactoring, right? So if I go to this image crop, right? You'd think that I should leave that preview in there. All right, let's maybe. Yeah, right. Okay, let's leave that. I agree. All right, cool. So next thing we really need to do now is just ensure, right, that so this cropped image, right? Set cropped image. So this is what we really need. So this is what we would really need to do here, right? Let's use the robot, right? So let's go to Jean-Code Van Debug. How can I convert 64 image into a blob that I can append to form data? Drev, my friend, good evening to you as well. Base 64 to blob. Maybe this is what we need, right? Into this utility. Okay, let's just give it a shot. We're gonna give this a shot, and then if it works, then we'll smack it to our Yale library, right? So what I'm literally gonna do, just for a minute, just to make sure that this works, I'm gonna basically and this essentially what returns a blob, right? So technically here yeah, but we would no longer actually use this thing from the set file, right? Where am I calling set file? Here on select file, data.file, right? Okay, maybe that's the thing, right? So let's see here. So if I print this thing, right? And we select the file, let's see, maybe I do already have both formats. I don't remember how I implemented this library when I wrote it, right? So let's go here. Let's cancel that. So what do we have? We have a file, and we do actually have a file. So yeah, so we don't actually need any of that. Beautiful. That's so nice. Okay, good to know. I just forgot, right? So okay, so now when we select the file, what we will actually do, we will just not set the actual. Oh, never mind. Fuck, this is nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. No. Because that is actually fine. We need this. Yeah, never mind. So we'll need to try to. We need to attempt to use this. So this is slightly would have to change, right? So essentially we have to change the logic in here, because yeah, this was refactored, right? So where is this set file? So this thing here. Yes, so when we select the file, what we really want to do in here is yeah, so at this point in time really we want to compress things, right? Because where do we call the compression now? So when image is cropped, then we call the compression, right? And that's actually correct, right? It's just that at this point in here, then maybe let me just see what is the purpose of set file now at all. Where do I use the file, right? So where do I actually use the file? image input. Where's my image crop? All right, so what if I actually, for a second, what if I just do this? Let's see what the code complains about. Yeah, so in fact, this is the only place where we are using that file, right? So technically, this set file thing is now useless, right? Because we have to ensure that we want to use the compressed image always, right? And is this called as soon as I do the upload? Let me just take a look at that. So is this always called on the onComplete? Let's see. It's not, right? So that onComplete is gonna get called as only when I interface with this. So that is kind of the problem, right? In simple words, this crop logic is only called when I actually go ahead and start cropping, right? So if a user comes here, just does this and doesn't actually fiddle with the crop area at all, then they would be uploading a specific file, right? Which is this set file that we call. So where do we call this set file? So maybe that's the logic that we should change. Okay. So here on select file, right? So it's clear that it's here basically on select file that we also have to call this compression. So we have to call the compression in two places, right? So this data.file is what we have to compress, right? And this is a blob, right? All right, we'll have to see about that, right? So I think fundamentally, yeah, we'll see. Let's just double check that first. So, and then we will have to integrate this part inside of our library, right? All right, so let's call this base64. So here, instead of calling a blob, we're gonna say cropped image or whatever. Yeah, exactly, something like this. Yeah, pretty much, yes. So let's see now. So if I select only this area, let's actually find a better image, something more distinct, so we can memorize what we selected. So let's imagine I do this and I just highlight this part over here. Will this work? Yeah, it actually did work. Now the question is, how big is this image? Let's see. Wow, I don't know if this is because 310 bytes, that's super small. So that we for sure did minify this, right? Yeah, so I think that's fine. That almost kind of works properly. Let's see. Let me go to my profile. Yeah, all right, let's try something else. It kind of looks a little bit messed up. Something feels a little bit off. So let's select this eagle. Upload. So that looks fine to me, right? Do you guys agree? I think that looks okay, right? Okay, that's cool. That's great. So I think, so yeah, so this does in fact work. So this algorithm that ChatGPT gave us does actually work, right? So what we should probably do is we will for this, in this context, open up a new instance of an editor. And we will open our Louis GUI, right? And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to image utils. Image utils. Utils. Image, yeah, here. And we will in fact implement this as a static function, right? Those are all of our, so private, right? So here we're gonna say, let's see about it. Public static this. Let's give it some types, right? So it's going to be a string. And this is going to be a string as well. this seems to be synchronous, right? So Dimitrovic, good evening, my friend. And then I guess this is gonna return a blob, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yep. Yeah, so technically that's that right now. So this compressed thing now, right? This compressed thing right now, this canvas to data URL returns a string, which is a base64 string, right? So what we could technically do is we could extend the compress function with additional options where we can decide, hey, do we want to get a base64 string out of this compression, or do we want to... So instead of exposing those, let's call them low-level functions, right? Croft, good evening, buddy. Hi from Copenhagen, man. How you doing? So instead of, yeah, so we can actually keep this private right here. But then we can extend the compress function, right? And we can call it format, right? And then here you can say, okay, what format do we want it to be, right? And this can be an optional thing, right? And here we can say format, it'll say base64. And actually format, we can create some enum type. Do we have, when I build this, did I define any types? Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, but let's just say here enum, let's call it compress, let's say compress return type. And then here we can say blah. Yeah, actually, yeah, beautiful. This is literally what we want, right? Yeah, you can do that for sure. Definitely. All right, so now we go here and we're gonna say the format, and then the default one is actually gonna be, what the fuck? What do you think about Rust? Nothing, honestly, man. It's another language, like a million other languages, pretty much. That's my opinion. It's not a language that I can utilize for anything in my current job, so not much, man. Not much, honestly. Did we like misspell it or something? Wow, actually, what the fuck is happening in here, man? This is some... I'm more productive when I feel like I'm in an office with a chatty, friendly... Yeah, man, of course, we're social beings, right? We're social beings, definitely, right? You know, for sure, man. That's just how it is. Oh, shit, do we have a... Did we, like... Wait a minute. We didn't mistype this, so what the fuck is happening with this type? No, I'm using both JavaScript and TypeScript. This is an open source libraries, right? I'm writing in TypeScript if they're, you know, in this domain of work, but so I don't I don't always use TypeScript. No. Oh shit, man! I see what's the problem. Sorry, I'm an idiot. It's okay. So let's just say here that this is gonna be that type. And then here we can say compress return type. That's funny. Okay. Shit, what the fuck? Where is this crap now? Image. Oh yeah. Man, I wrote a lot of this crap. Oh, base 60. What happened with that 64 number? Jesus Christ. Okay. So let's say base 64. All right, format is assigned I never used, and then we have to use it in this function, right? So, and I don't know if I unit tested this. We'll have to see in a moment, right? But here we can say basically, hey, if the format is that.base64, right, go with whatever we had before. Otherwise, yeah, pretty much this, right? And thank you very much for the follow. So let's see. So if it's base64, return this fella. Otherwise, convert the base64 to, and it's misspelled here, right? Well, let's prettify this a bit, right? So let's say const yeah, data URL, right? And then here we can just improve this slightly a bit, right? And then I guess we need to, here's the compress. So it's either a string or a blob, right? That's, I think, what's complaining about. Okay, great. Did we test this? I'm just gonna, so if I go to, shit, that was not my intention. That was not my intention. Okay, so let's go to, let's go here, right? And let's see, did I test this? I don't actually genuinely remember. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit hard. Yeah, so I remember, yeah, I don't think we tested this because it's a little bit more difficult writing tests for this, right? Because it actually, are you streaming on Twitch, Joe? Yeah, I'm streaming on Twitch, but I would actually appreciate if you guys can watch on YouTube rather than Twitch. Because at one point in time, if this stream survives and I continue streaming, I will probably move to YouTube. Because I don't think that Twitch is the right audience. Alright, so that's cool, right? Well, actually, I don't have any tests for that. So this technically should not break the existing behavior, but it should provide this compress function to, yeah. So now if we go to image crop here into the stories, right? Is it this one or is it image input? No. I mean, please guys, if you can, yeah, I would much appreciate if you guys watching on YouTube for sure. Because again, this platform is, yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Awesome, thank you guys. What's up, YouTube? Yeah, exactly. All right, let me just fix this now a little bit. So, okay, I see what's happening here, right? So if we take a look at this fella over here, right, on file loaded arguments. Okay, we need to just update this interface now, right? Because, so we have now, so what is this on file loaded? Handle select, right? Yeah. So on change of input, we call this. This is the image input, right? Yeah, I do a bunch of stuff. So I do validation. And then on file loaded, which is a prop, I suppose, yes. I give you back the file and then base64 thing, right? And I'm saying if compression isn't, I see what's happening here, right? I see. So if compression isn't enabled, just give me the raw file. Otherwise, well, you guys can already sign up. Just keep in mind, I don't know, I have a feeling that it's not really clear, and I don't think that it's clear to people this platform is live for a while now, right? So just FYI, maybe you already know, But I think I have to do something better in this stream to indicate that, because a lot of people think that this is something that I'm just, I mean, there's a bunch of, I mean, we have more than 1,000 people signed up. If you go to programmer.network now, right, it's literally programmer.network, www, you'll see that platform is in fact live, right? So just FYI, I'm just saying this out loud because I don't know if it's clear that this is already live, that it's not something that's just arbitrary, something abstract, right? Yeah, maybe my marketing sucks, right? But it doesn't matter, it's just it's worth it. But okay, so if base64 and compression isn't enabled, render this, and then here I guess compression argument, essentially that's maybe the problem, right? Because compress now optionally takes format I mean, yeah, we will do that at one point when I'm happy with how the things are. I'm still not fully happy, no. Okay, if the format is base64, which I believe that's what we that's what we made it to be, a default one, right? So that's good. Then give me the data URL. Otherwise, okay, so I can see what the problem is, right, with this interface. The problem I think is that it seems that I'm expecting that. So this is the file itself, the blob, and then yeah. So in this specific context here, I mean, I'm expecting it always to be a blob, right? So I think here I believe actually, where is this image input, right? So I guess I would have to somehow ensure that, give me a second, compression, I just want to see format, right? Should be like compress return, you know, well, it should be just you know, base64, right? And it's gonna complain now because we have used an enum there which we didn't export, right? So let's do this a little bit better, and then let's publish this to npm. So we're gonna create these types here, and yeah, let's just take this away, right? Just it's a little cleanup that we had to do anyway. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this as well, right? And then we can just auto import it here, and then we can do so as well here, and then we can go over here, and then we can say compress return type dot well, not really, base, and for whatever reason it's failing to, yeah, but no, that makes no sense. Is it types? Yeah, it is. Wow, okay, that's a little bit weird. When I'm updating my profile and I'm choosing the kingdom of origin, it tells me that it should be a string. It's most likely a regression. Thank you so much for reporting this, man. Give me 2 minutes and then we fix that. The thing is, just to give you a short context, I have open sourced a lot of the UI now into different libraries on npm and stuff, but I've also changed a lot of interfaces so it fits better. Other people in case that they start using it. So for example, this is the A library now. This is our UI library that I wrote, right? So most likely, yeah, but there's a high probability that something is broken because I'm still in the process. I have like 40 open changes right now that I need to. So we're gonna take a look at that in a minute. Let me just fix this stuff up. And yeah, somebody was saying, no, I don't think that we should be saying we fucked something up. Give me a moment here. Index TS, yeah, that's correct. Types TS, yes. Image types TS, so that is correct. There's nothing. I mean, you could do it. You could do it in Discord if that's not too much of a hassle. But please don't worry. Like, you already helped enough. So if that's already helpful, I'll figure it out. I wrote your comment in here, so we'll move there in a moment. Just bear with me here. Yeah, this is now super awkward. Actually, this is a little bit weird, to be honest with you. Wow, okay. That's a little bit weird, to be honest with you. Yeah, man, this is a little bit. Wow, is our test failing? Okay, this is a little bit weird. I mean, there's. Wow. Okay, can I reload or something? Maybe I should just reloaded the TypeScript server instead, right? That's super strange. Super strange. Let's reload TypeScript restart TS server. Let's try that. So it seems that in Louis GUI right now it's not. So my relative paths are maybe not properly resolved. Let's see, where did I configure that? Oh, this is the problem. No. This is the problem. What the fuck? Why did I do this? This makes no sense. Okay, no, that's good, but we found it. So this should be, you can see that the alias is wrong. This should be utils. So now it should technically be working properly, right? Yeah, it does. Okay, so that's good to know. We had that issue there. Okay, good. No problem. And then here, this should be what? Base 64, right? Thank you everybody for your follows. Okay, so what is this guy still complaining about? Oh, by the way, just one new addition. So I don't know if you saw, I released a new video on VS Code maybe an hour ago. There's one actually extension I found. What you will notice, you can see how my TypeScript errors now are actually properly formatted. And this is super nice thing. Let me share this with you. So I found this VS Code extension that finally nicely formats your TypeScript error. Look at this now. You see this box. And actually it's an extension that I found, super nice extension. Let's go, let me just find it. Let me just share it with you because it's super useful. Yeah, it's this one. It's called Pretty TypeScript Errors. Yeah, exactly. It's this one. And as you can see, it turns errors like this into this, right? So just FYI, it's very useful. Well, fuck you, Leo. You should have shared it with us then. So you should have shared it with us if you knew it. Bastard. Type string or blob is not a style type. Okay, so it seems that this property, yeah, okay. Or blob, right? Yeah, but that makes no sense, right? Ooh, a base 64 cannot be a blob, right? So this is not inaccurate, right? So what's inaccurate is our implementation now, right? Alex, my friend, good evening. So yeah, so essentially we have to ensure that what gets returned is an actual base 64 image, right? So I guess what we have to do really, we have to cast here. We have to say as string, right? And then that should work, right? Because we have now, so you see TypeScript is not super intelligent, right? Because TypeScript could have inferred that by me passing a format here explicitly as being base 64, that the return type of this would be a string, right? Yeah, I mean, but I would have expected it to infer it, because think about it this way, right? If I go into this implementation, right? You get what I mean, right? So you can see we are clearly saying here, even in the return, we're saying if format is base 64, return data URL. And this data to data URL, right, is returning a string, right? So if the system was kind of flawless, or if it was amazing, it should have technically understood that. So I shouldn't need to cast this as a string, because I can safely cast this to a string because I am saying here explicitly format is this, right? So yeah, so it's a little bit strange. I mean, when you read this piece of code, it's a little bit strange, right? It's like, what the hell is going on in here, right? But because we have to cast this crap, right? That is the problem. It's a little bit weird, right? Because me passing this here, I would expect this to now know, hey, I'm actually gonna return a string now, not a blob, right? But you know, every language is the best, man, just depending who writes it, right? I'm sure that, right? All right. Yeah, we are shitting on, well, the only language we are actually shitting on. So this, you have to understand, if you're new to this stream, right? I am everything opposite of your regular Joe streamer, right? So there's no influencing here. There's no shitting on languages, laughing things out. We're just building things, right? So we're type of a stream where we don't shit on things, especially things that we never did, right? Okay, let me just check Discord. Bugs. Oh, thank you so much, man. You fucking rock, man. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna go to this. We're gonna go to this in like 2 minutes and fix it. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that. Okay, that's great. We're gonna go to that in a moment. All right, so let me just finalize this. Okay, so now we basically have this compress based on the format you pass can return whatever we want, which is, if we go back to the programmer network frontend, which is in here, right? Yeah, we'll basically, yeah, we'll get rid of this. We will, yeah, we'll get rid of this for now. And then somewhere I must be calling this compress function, right? Dot compress, which I'm importing from this library that we have to redeploy to npm now, right? Yeah, so this compress is gonna take, not yet, we needn't deploy, but it's gonna take format here, which is gonna be base64 or a blob, right? Depending what format we need after the compression is complete, right? Actually, let's fix that right away just because you're waiting, man. Let's focus on that already. Okay, so let me try to, so let's go to user, let me find myself locally. So I'm now in a context of a Postgres database. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the country that I have set locally so I can try to sign, and then I'm going to remove the username from my local account so my frontend asks me to finalize the sign up, right? So if I actually go to localhost 3000, am I actually running it in my, are we running our debugger here and stuff? We are. Yeah, of course you can. So I have a lot of YouTube videos on this, but so this specific plugin, which is one of my favorites in VS Code, is called, well, it's called actually Postgres, right? It's called, let me actually find it for you. It's called Postgres SQL. Keep in mind, this guy has built probably the most useful extension for VS Code, and he gave it the wrong name. Because this is in fact not a Postgres extension, you can connect every single database almost out there. So if I actually right click here and say edit connection, right, you can see here I can connect to MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, SQLite, SQL Server, Oracle, fuck Oracle, DuckDB, Kafka, RabbitMQ, Loki, Redis. We're using it. We're using it for Postgres and Redis, right? I hate Oracle. It's the only company on this planet that I can't. I don't want to use in my mouth. And then obviously, as you can see here now, this is my. These are all of my Postgres tables now, right? So you can see I can go into tables, and not just tables. You can do a lot of things. You can do, let's say, in pgadmin, dbeaver, and stuff like that. So you can see here I can write queries, right? And then as you can see here, when you click on a specific table, you have this query window here. You can write queries here, right? So you can say where user.id is 1, for example, right? But anyway, going back to this, right, you can see that here I can just, like in a normal table, I can just remove things. So you see I just removed my username from here, and now I can actually, I'm in a finalize thing again. So let me try this. Select Kingdom of Origin. Kingdom of Origin. And that's the thing. So the irony of it is that it didn't actually fail for me. Let me see. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just... why am I in a mobile mode? Okay, I think I zoomed in too much. So actually it did seem to work, which is now even a bigger problem. Where is the country account? Am I even oh, actually no, it didn't work. Yeah, but okay, I see. Okay, I know what's happening, right? So all right, I know what you did. Okay, let's just go back there again. So let me just execute this query again, just so I can remove the username again, and I'm gonna go ahead and remove the country as well. What did I set Algeria? Okay. So if you go back here again, right? Greetings code compatriot. So the reason why you're getting what you're getting, right, is that the enum of this list is only. Okay, let me just say, let me type that out. Let me paste what you have, right? It's just what the question is. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Shit. It still worked. That's Croft. That's a good question, man. I'm not using those managed services like Firebase or Superbase and stuff, so I genuinely wouldn't know. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, man. I don't think that I can... that's the problem. I don't seem to be able to produce the error that you got, right? So how the hell did you get to that point? So Malaysia, right? Well, I do have shit tons of changes locally, so it could be that. What if I go to production, right? Because I did change a lot of stuff locally, right? Because I was doing this huge refactor of, well, we released this new library again. So what if I... Okay, got it. Okay, got it. I think I know. I mean, I know what the problem is. And this is already fixed. I just didn't deploy the changes yet. And this is already fixed. I just didn't deploy the changes yet. And to give you the context what the problem is, I can show you the recent PR that I saw. As I said, I open sourced some of these libraries, right? And so if I go to Yale here, right, which is this library that the recent one that I open sourced, right? You'll notice that if we go to commits, I recently committed something where I think it's this PR basically here. So I changed the interface of the select input in programmer network to something slightly different, right? So that's why that thing is failing. So once I deploy after maybe during this stream what we have locally, are you able to track the log through metrics? Or yeah, I mean I have a very complex infrastructure. I've done infrastructure myself. I mean, I can actually show you the infrastructure. I don't know how well you guys are in that domain, but I'm happy to take you through the infrastructure, right? Again, this is fairly complicated, and if you're not into infrastructure and stuff, I would obviously not advise you to do this. But this is how I hosted Programmer Network. So Programmer Network is hosted on hetzner.com, and I'm paying a bare metal server basically. So I'm paying just the server itself. I have no, there's nothing, there is no there's no managed services. So I'm paying for this server and I'm hosting everything myself. So let me take you through the infrastructure of Programmer Network. So the only thing that's not hosted on Hetzner is the actual, well, there are two things. There's the Cloudflare pages where our front-end is served. This is the managed service, and we're using Cloudflare for security and stuff. And then I have something that most of you didn't hear about. It's AppSmith, and this is what I use to build dashboards. So as you can see here, no, that's not the one. I have a Programmer Network dashboard. Let me just make sure I don't expose any private emails and stuff. So I'm just gonna hide this, right? So I have these dashboards, internal dashboards, just for me, so I can see how many of you signed up. When did you guys log in? So you can see here that I can see how many people logged in to the platform today, how many people logged in yesterday, etc., etc. I have these dashboards. How many thoughts have people shared and stuff. So this is my internal dashboards, and obviously I'm using AppSmith. You really have two solutions here. You either use Retool, which we also use at Dream Data where I work, or you use AppSmith, right? Because you don't want to be building internal dashboards. That's a huge waste of time. Nobody gains any value except you, right? Anyway, going back here, so we have Cloudflare pages. I'm using firewall and a host server on my, obviously on, so we have a firewall on Cloudflare side, we have it on the host machine, we have it on Hetzner, and I'm using the Hetzner firewall primarily only to allow traffic from Cloudflare IP ranges. So when you go to Programmer Network, if you're being routed through Cloudflare, why did I put Cloudflare basically in front of so essentially, in simple words, when you go to Programmer Network, you go to programmer.network, there's a Cloudflare in front of it, and then we have page rules, we have another firewall, we have a lot of security stuff done here, and then you basically hit my server, and then you go through another firewall, and then you hit the API or whatever, right? Well, I mean, so the idea, Numinex, is that any traffic that would so the idea is that if somebody would hit my IP of my server through the IP address that's not one of the Cloudflare IP ranges, which are those, they would be blocked. The firewall would block that traffic, right? So it's not the domain itself, because the domain name is routed in a different way. That's a DNS server is handling that traffic, right? But if you would try to access any of my services via IP and it's not coming from one of these, then they would be blocked. So the traffic is only allowed, right? Yeah. So going back to the infrastructure Programmer Network, right? So going back here, so we have the firewall, we have internal engine, I have internal Nginx, and I mostly use it for certbot. Certbot is a simple service for automating your SSL certificate renewals, right? So you have to renew your SSL certificates every 3 months. You obviously don't want to do that manually, so you create a cron job, and then you have a certbot that basically does that for you. So I'm mostly using Nginx to expose some routes so certbot server can hit my internal network and then do that, right? And then I have internal services here. This is just for me. So if I go to Grafana, so I'm using Grafana, Prometheus, Loki, ROG, Lotate, a lot of other shit. Because why am I talking about this? Because somebody asked me, hey, do you use logs? Of course we use logs. I log everything. So we can, whenever I want to see, hey, is my API having any errors? Is my Fastify failing? I can come here. I can go, I have also alert manager set up. So when there's an error happening in my API, I get a Slack message. I basically set up Slack just for Programmer Network. But yeah, I can see how my Postgres database behaves, and actually I can explain. So basically these internals, all of these are Docker images, right? So this is a Docker image, Docker image, Docker image, Docker image, Docker image, and Docker image. This Google Cadvisor essentially is a simple service where you can track where you can monitor your other Docker images and how they perform. Alert Manager essentially is a service that it's like a webhook. You can use it to send. It's almost like centric.js. You can make your own kind of alert manager, right? Node exporter and Postgres exporter. So basically, Node exporter I use to monitor the actual hostname resources. So you can see currently on Programmer Network, 16% of CPU is used, 9% of memory. I can see various other things. I can see the CPU cycles and all of that shit. Then we have the nodejs monitoring. I can see how my Fastify is performing, how many requests per second on average there is, memory usage, etc., right? All of that shit. Then I can actually show you also here if we go to alerting. This is where alerting is set up. So there's something called alert rules. And as you can see here, I have only one alert rule, and I'm saying whenever an error happens, let's actually go back. The Grafana has its own query language. It's called Grafana query language. And as you can see here, I'm saying, hey, whenever 500 happens on my server, so whenever a server error with a status HTTP status code 500 happens, I basically send this error to Slack, and I can actually show you how that looks like. Let me just make sure I open the right Slack so I don't expose my company-related shit. So you can actually see here, in general, I'm just putting it in a random channel. You can see here, it's saying, hey, there was some sort of an error. Go and check it out, right? Nginx is Docker as well. Everything is in Docker, yes. All right, so let's continue. So if I go back here, so this is my internal stuff. Then I have Grafana.programmer network. And keep in mind, if any of you try to go to this domain, you will notice that you're blocked. So if you try to go to this, if you try to go there, you will notice that you cannot access that. How come that you can't access it? Cloudflare, let me show you. So if you try to click that link, you're going to be blocked. How the hell are you blocked? And this is now where the strength of Cloudflare comes in. So let me show you. So if I go to websites and I go to Programmer Network and I show you some rules here. So we go to rules and we go to, actually no, we go to VAF, which is, so we go to security, we go to VAF, and we take a look at the rules, right? So look at this here. So there are 3 rules that I have. And one of the rules that's blocking you guys to open that URL is this one. Allow access to Grafana from my IP address. So essentially, that domain, because this whole server is behind Cloudflare, you can see now that I have this IP range. And I'm saying, hey, if somebody goes to grafana.programmernetwork.com and is not part of this IP list that I defined here, block them. So you can see there's 2 IP addresses right now that can access this thing. If I remove those 2 now, nobody can access it, right? So this is the part of Cloudflare. This is one of the small elements of Cloudflare that I'm using. There are many things I can actually show you. So if we go back here again, Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you don't have a static IP address, you will just every now and then have to add a new one when your dynamic address changes, right? So that's a bummer, of course. That's a bummer. Then I have some other rules, right? So for example, I have another rule here that blocks WordPress bots. I have noticed in my logs before. So this is the beauty of logs. This is why you have to log everything. So when I set up Grafana and Prometheus and Loki, I saw that there were a lot of bots trying to go to Programmer Network /VP, that stands for WordPress something, right? So I said, look, I'm not gonna allow my API to get hit by this garbage traffic. So what I did, I went to WAF here at Cloudflare, right? Web Application Firewall, that's what WAF stands for. And I said, hey, if the URI contains this, then block that traffic, right? So you can see here, if I go back, you'll see that today, for example, there were 56 requests from bots. If I actually click here, I can show you, and you can see IP addresses and the origin of this traffic, where it's coming from, right? All right, so yeah, what else? We have a lot of other shit. Have you ever faced huge DDoS attack? I mean, programmer network is a side project, right? So even if we DDoS me, you know, service is gonna probably become unreliable. Cloudflare is gonna mitigate that to the best of their ability, right? But I'm not worried about that right now, because I don't care. Even if it happens, there's nothing to lose, really. I could go, the point is, this is the infrastructure programmer network. There's databases, there's a bunch of stuff. I set this all up myself. I think I'm gonna stop talking about this now, because we can go, in general, I have not, no, I haven't. But you can get you get an SSL certificate here with Cloudflare. You can see that we, for programmer network, we have full encryption enabled, so it's encrypted end to end using a self-signed certificate on the server. So we have an SSL certificate signed for the front end. We have the SSL certificate signed in the back end by us. I am using the certbot, as you can see. So we're using certbot to sign it on our end. Hence why we can use the full end-to-end encryption, meaning from your browser through the server, it's fully encrypted, right? And then we have the DNS. Obviously, I have a lot of stuff configured here on the DNS, right? You can see I have the SendGrid, I have the Cloudflare pages, I have all the email related stuff, Grafana API, right, etc. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing, right? So yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, I'm gonna stop here because I can speak about this for 10 hours. But yeah, I'm using Hetzner. If you want to use Hetzner as well, you have a link in my, this is affiliate link. So if you want to sign up for Hetzner, go to my stream, click on this link, and then I think you can get 20 euros or something. Yeah. I'm using SendGrid. I'm using SendGrid for email. I'm using this service for email. Emails are very hard. Sending the email is easy. That is obviously just programming. But using the service that's whitelisted, that's reliable, or your email is not going to go to spam and stuff, you need to use these services. So you can use Amazon SCS, you can use SendGrid, you can use various other services, right? There's like shit tons of them, right? All right, give me a second. Cool. Yeah, that's how it works, and we'll fix this soon. All right, cool. So let's go back to the actual problem, to the stuff that we've been fixing, though, right? Migrated from MySQL and Heroku, Superbase, Postgres, and Cloudflare. The thing is, I mean, so when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to anything in programming, right, it's always a balance between time and money, right? One of the things that a lot of junior developers especially, or even senior developers, don't understand is something called COGS, which stands for the cost of goods sold, right? So the thing is, a huge fallacy with programmers, right, is that programmers are going to say, let me just use AWS, let me just use GCP, let me use Superbase, Firebase, let me use Hetzner as I am. And no matter what you say, it has a huge consequence, right? So if you're building a project like I am, like this side project, like Programmer Network, and you want to make some money, right? You need to keep this number in check, right? What is COGS? COGS basically represents how much does it cost you to build and maintain your product, and then relative to that, you will have to define the pricing of your own product when you're selling it. So for example, higher the cost of the development, it will affect obviously the cost of your pricing. So if it costs you $100 a day to build your product, then you cannot sell the subscription for 10 cents, right? Because you're not going to make any money, right? So when you're making these types of technical decisions, right, you have to account for not just is it slow or fast or good or bad. You have to account for the fact, like, will my business, will this little side project I'm building, is it gonna be sustainable if I just go with all of these crazy services? Because ideally, of course, if you are a successful company, you don't want to be doing this anymore. This takes a lot of knowledge, time, security, investment, right? You want to go with GCP, AWS, and all of this shit that I had to configure manually, you get there for free, right? You have auto scaling, they have hundreds of amazing services, great support, right? But this is only if you're an established business that makes money. If you're not such a business, right? If you're building a product like I am, then of course that you want to try and build something that's as cheap as possible to maintain, right? So like Programmer Network right now costs me maybe 30-40 bucks a month to run all of this, right? If I went with, let's say, GCP or AWS, it would have probably costed me, I don't know, 200, right? 300, who knows, right? So that is the significant difference, right? Exactly. It's just, of course, and I also agree with that, Croft, right? I mean, you pretty much want to do what you know best. It's just that it's very easy to fall into trap. It's like, yeah, let's just pay for this service. Who cares? But then that also has consequences, and quite the opposite. If you do the stuff manually, as I did, that also has the consequence of time, right? Now I have to maintain this and, you know, update these Docker images, make sure things are secured and stuff like that, right? So every technical decision has a consequence one way or the other, right? It's just you need to choose the right consequences at the right time. And that is how it is, right? And then there's one service that I didn't deploy yet, so just to round this up. So we have the API, Postgres, Redis for caching, mostly for notifications right now. And then I have this scheduler that I didn't deploy yet. I need to actually take a day and just finish that. Okay, cool. There we go, guys. I hope that was even remotely fun. All right, cool. So going back to this library that we have to redeploy to npm now. Where's my Louis GUI? No, this is the infrastructure. So let's just close that crap. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. My pleasure, guys. My pleasure. Thank you for asking. I love talking about these things. Have I used Webpack? Of course I have. I've used Webpack for many years. I've used Webpack for many years. I mean, not I. The whole community did, right? Up until a year or two ago, every React project was using Webpack, right? Before Vita came out, right? Okay, so this is good now, I think. Kind of sucks that I don't have tests for this, but again, like I said, this would be more of an end-to-end test than a unit test, right? Because I don't think we can unit test this. We need. I mean, I use Vita, right? But I think I don't necessarily. So Max, for me, generally, I use whatever. I don't even think about these tools. I don't think about Webpack or Vita, right? I remember 7 or 8 years ago we used Gulp and Grunt, Yeoman and stuff like that, right? So those tools as they come, and if they're performing, if they're faster or whatever, I just switch to them, right? But they're a side effect of things. You don't think about those things, right? That's like a compiler of web, right? This is the stuff that compiles your code, so you generally and very rarely ever think about these things, right? All right, so just give me a second here, please. So let me go to, so here we have the compressed. Let me just review my own code here. So I load the image, create the canvas, get the scale dimensions. If there's no context, I throw an error, throw an exception. Then I draw the image, we get the base64 back, and I'm saying, hey, if it's base64, return that, otherwise return the blob, and then this thing is the new thing that we just, well, we didn't really write it, we copy pasted this from ChatGPT. So this is gonna convert a base64 string into a blob, and that's what we want, right? Okay, so let's see what we actually did here. So we fixed this little thing, we moved the types to that file, right? Yes. we extended the compress function with the format. So when we call the function, we can either get the blob, we can get the binary format back or the string back, right? So that's what we kind of lacked in there. Then we are using this return type here. We had to cast this shit because TypeScript wasn't smart enough to infer the type. Yeah. Let me go to npm. What is the version? Is the correct version there that we actually deployed? Let me see. So I deployed the last version yesterday, and that was version 130, right? Yeah. So let's bump this version. Shit. Okay, and let's say here extend compress function with, I mean, yeah, technically it's a method in this context, not a function, but whatever. Extend the compress function with format option, with format argument. So let me just review my code once more because I don't trust myself. So that is correct. Correct. Default value, yes. Leo, of course, man. That's why we love this job, right? It's that feeling of success that all right, so let's just be, yeah, I'm just gonna yeah, let's just do one tiny change, right? Is this it? Give me a moment here. Where's the compressed stuff that I wrote? Yeah, here. Okay, let's maybe just be, so let's say base 64 data URL, just so it's easier when you read it. That's the only maybe self-review that I'm gonna do. And then we're using this type in here, right? And then we're conditionally saying, hey, if the compression is disabled, then just do this, don't compress it. Otherwise, compress it as a base 64 format. Okay, that's Well, the difference is huge in Numinix, right? The difference is in a paradigm, right? The paradigm of object-oriented programming, right? So when you're using a class in JavaScript, which is just a abstraction over prototypal chain, prototypal inheritance, right? You're essentially you're creating a function and an object, right, and a prototype of a certain type, right? It can either be an existing a prototype, like for example, JavaScript itself has several, let's call them prototypes or data structures. Like you have an object, right? So you have object.prototype, right? You have array.prototype, right? So you have few of those basic types, right? And you can create your own, right? So when you define a class, you're creating an object, and then you can use the prototypal chain, and you can do you can use inheritance, right? So it's not like a classical inheritance in object-oriented programming languages. Function is just a function, right? I mean, it's a different paradigm. You could say it's a functional programming paradigm, right? Right, so here now we can say we need to create a new tag, and the new tag is going to be 31, right? But I'll just go to my, I'm just actually going to go to GitHub, right? Just for a moment, because what the fuck, man? Because it seems that here we have released So the thing is, so the biggest problem with a lot of influencers, those internet people, is that they're talking a lot of bullshit, right? Because many of them actually fucking suck, right? They just read some tutorial and record a video. So there's no such thing as don't use class. That's an absolutely idiotic argument. Whoever told you these things is a fucking idiot, right? It's a complete fucking moron. Because the whole JavaScript language is based on prototypal inheritance. The whole language is designed to prototypes. So somebody's telling you not to use class is a fucking idiot, man. I'm getting so annoyed by these stupid idiots who just repeat some shit that they hear somewhere. Look, if you create an object in JavaScript and then you print that object, right? What does it say here? What is this? This is a prototype, right? So this object is part of an object prototype, right? You can see native code. This is a C++ code. So you say object.prototype, right? I misspelled that. And then we get a constructor. Because you can see this is a class, right? So this object is a class. It has its own constructor. It has some values, right? It's a different type of inheritance, right? You have a classical and you have prototypal inheritance, right? So it's a huge difference. In JavaScript, everything is nearly an object, and these objects inherit things from each other, right? So it's a different type of inheritance. It's a different type of class, right? It's not the same as in C++ and C# and Java. You should read about this. I mean, this is the most fundamental part of JavaScript language. If you don't know those basic concepts like prototypal inheritance, variable hoisting, closures, how apply, call, and bind work. There are few of those details that every JavaScript developer must know in their sleep, right? Because those basic concepts are the fundamentals of the language, right? It's the same. Like, look, if you ever wonder, is like, how can I say those brackets and then dot, I don't know, for each, right? Like, where is this for each function coming from? Well, it's coming from the array prototype, right? Look at this now. Let me show you. Let me show you one thing. Look at this now. Let me show you one thing, right? Look at this now. So let's imagine we're working with arrays, right? And we say map, or we say reduce. No, let's say map, right? Or let's actually say for each. Shit. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna print this number, right? Have you ever wondered how could I actually hook into JavaScript and rewrite this function? Where is this for each coming from? Well, it's coming from here. Look, array.prototype dot for each, right? And you could reassign this crap, right? You could reassign this literally, right? How would you do that? Well, you would use the this keyword to bind to the context of whatever this object is. So here now you can say this dot. You can actually just say, look at this. Let's just say console.log this, right? So now if I say 1 and 2, and then I say for each, and I actually call for each, now this is a different concept. Now we're getting into the context of this, right? But you can see we have printed the window object. So you can see for each actually is no longer doing its native behavior. Now it's printing some context, and it's printing a window object, right? Why is it printing a window object? Well, it's printing it because I use the lambda function here. Well, let me show you that difference, right? So if I go back here and I use a normal function, I call it hi. Okay, let's see now. Oh wow, now we got 1 and 2. What? So now I call the native for each on an array, and I got 1 and 2. So how come that this now refers to this object itself, right? It's a good question, right? Well, because of how the binding in JavaScript works, of the context. This now refers to the object that's calling the method itself, right? So look, let me not get into JavaScript details, right? That those are super fundamental things that every developer that writes JavaScript should know, because they're very important for your own confidence, right? JavaScript keyword, this keyword is not complicated. It just has rules that you have to understand. There are maybe 3 or 4 different rules, and if you can apply these, so it is complicated. So that's a vague statement, right? It is complicated relative to how this works in in some language like Java, right? Because it's more defined, because due to the classical inheritance, because this in JavaScript binds to the context, and context can be anything. In Java, for example, in C#, whatever, the context is always the class. In JavaScript, the context can be anything. You see here in the first example, when I used lambda function, so I redeclared the native for each method on the array product type, and then when I printed this, the context of this, it was the window object. But it was the window object because the lambda function, that's how it binds the context, right? So it bound the window context. But when I use the normal function here, not the lambda one, now the this binds to the object that's calling for each. And in this context, as you know, in JavaScript, everything is an object. Array is also an object, right? Because if you do, right, if you do this, if you do type of this, you get an object, right? If you do type of, it's also an object, right? If you do, this is a constructor, right? It's a function, right? A constructor is a function, right? So you say function foo, you name it the capital letter. This is a constructor as well, right? So there's a lot of these things, but it's easy to shit about it and complain about it and call it complicated, or you can do an alternative thing and actually learn it. And then it's no longer complicated and you no longer have to complain about it like a little bitch, right? You can then just say that's what the rules are. And you know, that's, if you know the rules, it's not complicated. If you don't know the rules, you have two ways to go around it. You can be a mature individual who's not going to be ignorant and learn it, or you can bitch about it on a YouTube video, right? So that's how it works. Yeah, let's not go into this week. I can talk about JavaScript internals for 10 hours, so let's just stop here. So we have a wrong tag here, so let me try one thing. Let me try to redeploy this as, and thank you everybody for your follows. So Louis GUI, right, it's this thing. So what I'm gonna do, let's bump this to version 32 instead. So I'm gonna add this, I'm gonna bump to 1032. I'm gonna sync this to master. Shit. Wait, give me a second. I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna push. A little bit weird. Okay. And then I'm gonna create a new tag 32. And then I'm gonna push to the tag 32, right? And hopefully my CI that I set up is actually gonna properly figure that out now. Let's see what is it deploying. Okay, good. Because my CI, okay, so we're gonna deploy this to NPM now, this new version. And then we are going to Maniac, my friend. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for writing something. All right, so we're gonna wait. So the next version here should be 32. And then we're gonna go to Programmer Network Fauna, and then we're gonna reinstall this. How is it going? Good, man. Good. It's a weekend stream. My wife was a little bit sick. She had a flu. So yeah, so I was just cooking and helping her past 2 or 3 days, cleaning up the house, taking care of the kid. She's feeling a lot better, and that's why I was able to stream. She's feeling a lot better, and actually she took our son to put him to bed a couple of minutes ago. But apart from that, man, not much. Just work, family, and then this stream occasionally when I have the time. What did I want to do? Ah, shit, yeah. So we're gonna say pm. No, let's actually go to package.json. Let's find Yale. Which project is this? Am I in the right project? Oh yeah, I am. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna do pretty much. We just need to make sure that our pm log file gets updated as well, right? So that's why I'm doing it like this. Programmer Network Yale at 032, and let's go to. Oh fuck! Did it fail? The linter failed. Why? Ah shit. Okay. No, all good. Actually, I'm happy that it failed. It's fine. Let's just open the right project. It's just very strange. I should have maybe just ran the linter in time. Let's just say lint. let's see, where is it? Why am I not having this as part of the Husky hook? Is what? That's a little bit weird. I mean, I'm not getting an error. So where did my CI fail? Image input stories. Ah, okay, good. Okay, so maybe I'm not, wait a minute. Let me go to my package.json, because maybe that's another thing we should include in the Husky hook, right? So let me go to my Husky, because I believe that maybe we're not, when I'm executing the pre-commit hook. Let me just see what this, no, not really, right? Okay, pre-commit, lint staged, that's what we're doing, lint staged, pre-push. Yeah, but we're, okay, so, but we're only linting the stage shit, and that's okay, right? But if I go to package.json, where is my, so here we do have lint stage, this is what we are running, right? JS, JSXT, SDSX. So it should technically be doing it, right? Give me a second. Lint fix, lint quiet. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but either way, we'll fix it. It doesn't really matter. It's just it's complaining about this now. Right. So that's what it complained about. Okay, well, fair enough. I need to disable this cache that's generated by ESLint. I don't know why I haven't done that. There's so many things to do, man. Crazy stuff. Okay, so let's add this. Let's commit it to master. Let's call it casted the out. Yeah, whatever, actually, I don't care. And then we'll try to push to the same tag again, right? And I'm gonna read a question. Somebody wrote a question on Twitch. I'm sorry, give me just 2 seconds. Just need to focus on just for, I need like 30 seconds more. The question now though is, can I rerun this crap? Yeah, so let me, yeah. That kind of sucks, but that's what it is. Okay, so let me just go to, let me go to releases. Let me go to tags. Let me just get rid of this tag. And then let's recreate it again here. So I'm gonna say tag the. Then I'm gonna remove the 32. I'm gonna create a new one. And then I'm gonna push the 32 again, right? Something like that, I guess. I hope so. Okay, so my CI is running again. Let me read the question very quickly. Let me just paste it here. Hi, I popped from nowhere, but I'm currently trying to find which ORM query builder to use. I know it. Well, I think the ORM and query builder, they're quite a different thing. So depending what you need, right? Query builder is one thing and ORM is a different thing. Can you give me a little bit more context, and then maybe I can tell you what I think. So what are you trying to build? How generic is it, right? I think that for me, there are pretty golden rules about choosing an abstraction over your database. So for example, if you're building a CRUD API, where you're gonna have a bunch of endpoints which have just different names, but fundamentally they're, you know, give me X resource by ID, delete X resource by ID, give me many of these items of this resource, whatever. Then ORM makes sense, right? Because, I mean, ORMs make sense in most circumstances, right? Unless performance is of utter and absolute importance in every aspect, in every query, that's maybe where ORM slightly degrades you, right? But ORM isn't just about abstraction, it's about security as well, it's about sanitization, it's about SQL injection, it's about many other things, right? Query Builder is usually just a tool that provides this is called in programming method chaining API, essentially you have a bunch of methods, each one of them returning the context of this. So you have like where something and where, right, dot returning something, right? This would be something like connects.js, right? So a good example of a query builder would be connects.js, right? And connects.js essentially is method chaining API. So in simple words, you do things like, let's find some crap. Query builder, here it is, right? So table A, table B, select some properties, where, whatever, right? So this is a query builder. And if you just need something to help you write queries, this is a great choice, for example, right? But this is just a query builder. This doesn't provide you with migrations, right? So you cannot have automatic migrations. It's not migration first. So for example, when you're using SQLize, but we're using, you always write your migration first, and then out of the migration you generate a table, for example, right? So that's why I say ORM and query builders are two different things, very different. Query builder is just there to where, you know, you're maybe not great at SQL or whatever, you're good at writing JavaScript, so you replace some of that internals of SQL by writing those functions like this, right? There's another point I can make about this is that there's a way smaller difference between writing a raw SQL and using a query builder like this, and then writing a raw SQL and using an ORM, because ORM is a whole framework around your database. This is just improvements over syntax, right? So how you connect to your database, how you scale your database, etc., etc. This thing is not going to help you with that, right? Okay, this is deployed now. Good. 32, yeah, beautiful. Okay, great. Let me just double check that. So if we go to source, src components, what the hell did we do? I forgot from all the talk. Shit, what was I working on? Oh my fucking god. Fuck my life, I don't even know what I was working on. Yeah, okay, now I remember. Okay, image input, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, now I remember. Jesus, okay, it's there, yes, okay, beautiful, beautiful. So let's install it in Programming Network project. All right, let's run our debuggers and all of that stuff. F5 to run our whole project. Cool. Oh yeah, so now basically we can go back to Programming Network front end. Is this it? I guess it is, yeah. So this is where we were before, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this fella now takes this format, right? Hopefully it does, because yeah, I don't see that it... Shit. Programmer Network, Yale, source, components, image input type, so it should be there, yeah, right? Yeah, it is there, okay, so I think our maybe TypeScript server or something is lagging a little bit. Let's reload this whole workspace. Maybe that's the problem. All right, let's actually close the chat for now as well. We actually don't need it. Actually, no, we do need it, because now you can't see the screen. Shit. Secondary sidebar. Okay. Okay, so format is here now. Beautiful. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. Very good. Okay. So So this we do want still to be a base64 format because we need it for the preview. Now in here, we essentially need to GPT is learning faster than I do. Don't think I will be able to find a job as a front engineer. Of course you can find a job, man. You just have to toughen up. Don't pity yourself, right? I'm sure that you're more than capable. It's a struggle. It's not a... It's just something you have to go through, and I'm sure that you will. And just do it, man. Sit, build things, struggle. You will struggle a bit, and then there will be time when you will forget that you ever struggled. That's just how it is. I would not worry too much about ChatGPT or anything like that, right? It's we all started somewhere, right? None of us have started where we are now. So don't listen too much to what other people are saying, because we all started low. We start down and then we climb up. That's the only way. Fuck, is my debugger down? Oh, sync changes. Alright, that's actually, let's just close this because I need it. F5. So actually what happened there? It's a little bit weird, isn't it? I thought that, shit, that was. For context, I'm building a job board with Next.js that I want to use to improve, show my skills and share it. Thought using Prisma, then I started to think it should let me go. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you use, man. I mean, this is the biggest fallacy. I think a lot. I mean, I'm not saying that that happened to you, but it's when I look at some of the juniors today and how affected they are by all of this influencer bullshit, I genuinely feel bad for them. I remember maybe 15-20 years ago, when I was, in 2008, I started working professionally, but before then I was in many people's shoes, right? And there wasn't this influencer type of bullshit, so people were just using technologies that they were happy with and things were working and stuff like that. Now, today, I mean, just read your own message, man. You're now in doubt about 5 things, and none of them actually differ in any major or relevant way, right? I mean, every single technical decision you make is going to have some consequence. It's going to have many great consequences, and it's going to have many bad consequences, right? So no tool that you will choose is going to be flawless in anything. So if you choose between any of these tools that you have listed there, some of them are going to do something better, and some of them are going to do something worse, right? So you just have to choose something that you personally like and go with it, right? I mean, I'm using Sequelize, and Sequelize has been one of the first ORMs written for Postgres. It has been written 10 years ago, and I'm still using it, right? And if I ever need an ORM for Postgres, I'm always going to use Sequelize in 10 years again, right? Because it's well tested, it has been around for a decade, it works, it does what it needs to do. Does it do everything perfectly? Of course not. There's no such tool, doesn't exist. And that's really all that there is, right? So don't get stressed out by what other people think, man. I mean, especially not people like me on the stream or people on YouTube who are selling you content and engagement and likes and drama and all of that bullshit, right? Choose whatever you want, whatever your values align with, and I'm sure it's going to be a great choice. The worst choice you can make is choose something that you didn't want to choose, someone else made you do it, right? You don't really need that type of shit, right? Okay, so yeah, so that's not good. I really am enjoying your stream in all aspects. It's solid and really enjoyable hearing your... For the future, if you have the time, code reviews would be great. Yeah, man, I would love to do that. I mean, I would love... It's just if people were also more proactive in that sense, right? I'm super happy to help, right? To do some reviews and stuff. It's just that most of the people are very silent, right? No matter if it's 30 people, 100 people watching, most people are just not saying much, right? Okay, what did I want to do? What did I want to do? Ninjas, yeah, exactly. Am I on the pro? Okay, so but let me just finally let's just finalize this one. My pleasure, man. That's the only feedback that anyone will ever get. I cannot give you anything else other than reality. Don't, no matter just remember, right? In the context of technical decisions, there's never gonna be a decision that's gonna be greatest in all aspects. Just remember, this is such a simple fact that we often forget. Every single technical decision you make in your career is gonna have different consequences on different areas of business. So you just remember this, and that way you're gonna be just making decisions a lot quicker, because you will know that no matter what you choose, it can be the latest thing, the newest thing, the oldest thing, whatever, there's gonna be a consequence of that, right? If you choose an older technology, there's a lot more knowledge about it online. There's a lot more tutorials. There's a lot of other people who had issues with that thing and solved it. If you choose the newer thing that by no means needs to be better at all, just because it's newest doesn't mean it's better, right? Then you're gonna have different types of issues, right? Etc., etc., etc. And this is just always has been and always will be, right? That's just how it works. These JavaScript community changes every 3 days, you know, so upload. Shit. So it actually doesn't like this. What the fuck? Why? Oh, the format is wrong here. Sorry, this should be blob. Jesus Christ. My bad, my bad. Alright, try that again. Okay. It's uploading, I believe. Yes, there we go. But no, it didn't work. Motherfucker. Oh, of course, well, I know why it didn't work. No worries. I know why it didn't work. I know why it didn't work. It's because of this thing here. No, actually, that's fine. File convert. No. Oh, yeah, because... Wait a minute. Yeah, I know. Shit, man. Man, I have like 40 different HDMI cables. If you were in Copenhagen, you could just come and pick it up. I have all of these drawers behind me are just cable drawers. I have so many different cables because I have the server behind me and stuff. So this is not correct, man. Shit. Fuck, man. But actually, I have an idea. All good. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to do this in a certain way. All good. It doesn't really matter at all. Okay. So only thing I'm really gonna do here is I'm gonna say image utils dot shit, man. Come on. Are you kidding me? Man. That kind of sucks ass. All right. Because we made this one private, right? Why did I make it private? Yeah, I shouldn't have made it private, right? Shit. Alright, I mean, that's what it is. Crap. Fuck. Yeah, okay, well... Oof, that's a tiny bummer. It's okay, it's gonna take us 2 seconds. Yeah, so we'll need to just redeploy this again. So we'll need to make that public, and I should have made it public initially. So we'll do public, right? Is there any tests that we have to run? Give me a second. Just need. I don't remember if I wrote tests for this component. What was this warning? I mean, it's fine. That's okay. All right. So anyway, that's what it is. That's how it is. So we have to bump this to version 33, right? We just made base64 to blob public, so that's okay. Let me just go to npm, make sure I'm just getting stressed out with these versions. So it is 33, right? So we're gonna have to push to that tag. Let me actually kill this thing. We're not gonna need it for now. So let's so 33, right? Yes. Make base 64 to blob public. Yes. Okay. So we commit this. We sync the changes. Of course, VS Code fails as always, so that's how it is. And then we're gonna do the tag. So we're gonna create this tag, and then we're gonna push to this tag, right? 33. And then if we go to our GitHub here, our CI should be running now. Hopefully, yeah. Here we go. And hopefully that's all gonna pass, and then we'll need to reinstall it here. And then essentially here, let's just write the code. So it's gonna be that dot base 64 to blob, right? And then it's gonna take the cropped image. Yeah, it's still a little bit weird implementation, but whatever. Just a little bit weird, because I think we can get rid of this this set file thing, but it's okay. Let's do it gradually, right? And all right, so let's do one thing while this is my debugger running? It is okay. So my debugger is actually running. So let's try one thing, right? So if we go to this is Louis GUI, right? So we can, I guess, close that one now. Let's go to this single workspace here. So let's just inspect something, right? So let's put a breakpoint, let's say here, and let's go to the front end and let's try uploading something, right? So upload. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Let me try that again. F5. But the only downside with this setup, right, with running everything through VS Code and the debugger, right, because now we can debug kind of this non-monolith both ends very easily, is that it doesn't actually. You can see that it's running it in incognito mode, more or less. I guess we can fix that. But as you can see, once I kill the processes, I have to log in again every time because it doesn't store the JSON Web Token and a cookie in the browser, right? So that is the downside of that. It feels a little bit strange, but that's what it is. Okay. Okay, so the breakpoint now works. Okay, let's just inspect this a little bit, right? So let's say form data. And of course, we actually broke on form data itself. So let's get it to a point of calling this calling the API. So let's keep on going. So let's see what the form data is. And of course, we would have to basically say here form data dot. There's probably some getter on it, right? Yeah, entries. Yeah. So yeah, values, right? So we can say form data dot values, right? And we can call that. So it's an iterator. Yeah. So yeah, so we would have to say right, form data dot values dot, what does the iterator prototype has on it? I actually don't remember it. Yeah, never mind. Who the fuck is this retard on YouTube? Can somebody who is this person? Gangbanger shit. Yo, Eddie, I don't know who you are, man. There's somebody on YouTube. I don't know if it's a friend and trolling me or if it's just someone else. This guy, Free Palestine. Okay, cool, man. What an idiot, man. Okay. Anyway, so the next version should be 133, I guess. Yep. All right, so that's great. So let's just disable all of those breakpoints. Let's just let our front end load. And let's go back to no, actually we don't need to, we don't need that. Let's just get in here, right? and then we want to install this version. All right, cool. So let's get that installed, right? That's great. And now, basically, if you restart the TypeScript server, I guess it should suffice, right? 2 base, yeah. All right, base 64. Jesus Christ, man, there's so many retards on the internet. It's incredible, man. Some people are literally sick in their heads. Base 64 to blob. Okay, so this is all correct. Byte arrays, type, mean type, yeah. So that's, I think, all correct. So I guess now we could try doing that, right? So let's give this a shot. So let's do this. Yeah. All right, great. So this is great. Okay, good. So that worked. That's perfect. What was the size of the actual image? Let's go to Cloudflare. Let's go to Cloudflare images. And images. Is it in this account or is it the other account? It's the other account. Okay. So let's go here. Let's go here. Images. So the latest one we just uploaded is this one, right? So let's see some metadata about it. Can we actually see it here? Can we see the size of the image here? I mean, we will see that in the network tab. I just wanted to see if there's a way to see it here. No, not really. So it's 200 by 200. Okay, interesting. All right. Image, or let's say all. So the size is 300 bytes. That's amazing, right? I'm storing images on Cloudflare Images. Cloudflare has a service called Cloudflare Images. It's similar to S3 on AWS or cloud storage on GCP, right? But the service is called Cloudflare Images. So it's basically like an object storage, just a service. They built a service around images. So you have the image variants on the edge, resizing and stuff like that, right? And they have an awesome API, so it was a no-brainer. So as you can see here, I'm not really using the variants now, right? But you can see, for example, here I have 100,000 images a month for $10. And if you can see, if I go to variants here, right, I can create flexible variants, which basically introduce that dynamic resizing, or I can create my own variant. So for example, if a user uploads an image, let's say from desktop, you can then create a mobile variant of each one of these images, right? So that is kind of, right? I don't think they do, no. I'm compressing images myself. I wrote this little, actually it's open source thing. I wrote it as part of the Yale thing. I mean, of course, it's not that I didn't introduce the compression algorithm myself. I got it somewhere. But you have this image input here, and this image input, I essentially made a React component that has a compression as a prop, and then you can say, hey, I have this compression thing, right? Actually, if we take a look at the types, where is the type? Image input. So you can see here, compression enabled, max width, blah, 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 right? Santa Madre, good, how are you? I'm pretty good, I must say, pretty good. Coffer me, what the fuck, man? Jesus Christ, dude. What a bunch of fucking freaks, man. Like this internet, man, I think some people like are literally mentally insane. Who the fuck is this guy, man? The guy wants to fight over chat. Fight me. How can I fight you, you fucking moron, when you're on my chat? Fucking brainless idiot. Jesus Christ. What the fuck, bro? All right, anyway, that's how it is. The world is filled with morons. That's just how it is. What can you do? Okay, so anyway, so this is amazing. No, dude, I mean, this stream cannot be more, you know what's the irony, man? I mean, this stream is really all about coding. We barely even talk, right? Yeah, I stream on YouTube as well. No, it's just a little bit weird, man. It's like, this is the most chill stream you can have, right? And then I don't know who these people are, where they actually find this stream. It's ridiculous, right? It super confuses me, right? The guy just randomly showed up. I don't even know what's happening. Okay, let's see. Upload. All right, so that's great. This is good. So basically we can say that I'm actually happy with this outcome. Yeah, so I think we kind of nail, I think, so, and this is all open source. So this stuff that I'm using, I open sourced it just so you know you can actually find all of these components here in the Yale library if you care. And if you do care, just give it a star if you want, but keep in mind it's all here. So if you need the cropping and stuff like that, right? So there's an image input and then there's an image crop. So if I go, you can also find some of these components here in the Yale library, right? But if we go to image input, right, this is the input, and you can actually see all of the props that I kind of implemented, the types, the compression, max file size, and all of that, right? And then you have the image crop, and this image crop, keep in mind, is just a library I'm using. I just abstracted it and improved it a little bit. So this is not my work. I'm using some React crop, and I just improved it slightly a bit, right? So that's it. But when combined together as what we're doing in Programmer Network, I think it's pretty awesome because you have the image input, which you can say, hey, compress my image, please, as well. And do other things, and then you have the crop that crops your image, right? So, and as you can see, as I implemented it basically here, right? The idea is that you have this preview here, and this is the preview. So if any of you have signed up on Programmer Network, I've just taken this thing here, right, to preview it. So you can see as I'm now dragging this stuff out, right, it's just showing how it's going to actually look on your profile, right? So if I do this, right, and upload, then yeah, that's basically gonna how it's gonna look on your profile. So if we go to my own profile, you can see that's the same thing, right? Let me just get some water 1 second. Okay, cool, very nice. So I'm not using any library for compression. I just wrote some function. If you have some suggestions, please share it with me. I'm not using anything, any library for it. I just wrote some function. Give me a second, actually. Let me see how I did it. So if we go to how did I do it? Let me see. So if we go to source, components, image input, index. No, actually, so if we go to utils, right? I think I wrote this in utils. So you see there's array, canvas, string utils. So if we go into image utils here, there's this compress function, which is not looseless, right? I don't actually know. So you're not the first person who asked me, is this like GitHub? And I find that mostly strange because is there like a feed on GitHub where people share thoughts? Are there meetups on GitHub? Are there articles on GitHub? Because don't take me wrong, I mean, it's a valid statement. You can basically feel about this platform whatever you want, that more power to that. But why do you think that it's like GitHub? I see no correlation to GitHub apart from the fact, of course, that both platforms are for developers, right? It's just like when I go to GitHub, where can I actually share tweets, let's say? Where can I do that? That's where I'm confused, right? Good evening, ATH. Where exactly can I share a tweet, let's say, on GitHub? Where can I write an article on GitHub. Where can I, right? So it's a little bit weird. I'm not sure where you're getting that from, right? But anyway, going back to this compress function, so this is the compress function, really. And I don't actually think that I wrote this. I think I might have written a part of it maybe with ChatGPT, but I don't think that I wrote this code myself. I might, right, but you can see what we do. Basically, I load the image, I create a canvas, I most likely render the image on the canvas, 2D canvas, and then we do some other things, right? All right, so this is very good. I'm actually happy with that. Now, obviously, yeah, I have a lot of well, I mean, you guys can go and sign up. I mean, I generally don't, I hate to advertise shit, right? So if you guys can, please go and sign up. So it's a platform that already has more than 1,000 developers, right? So it's something that, it's nothing, I mean, this is keep in mind something I do after wife and kid and full-time job. So this whole platform has been built inside of the stream, right? So it's not that it's quality of Facebook or anything like that, right? But you can sign up and see it yourself, right? We need to clean, we have to clean up some stuff, but yeah, there's courses, right? You can create a whole course, there's meetups and stuff like that, right? So it's just we need to polish some stuff out because it's been a lot of changes recently, right? Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. Before we actually move to something else, let's maybe chat a little bit. So, what is there something? Give me a second. Where is this chatting thing? Let's maybe chat a little bit if somebody has some questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna continue coding on something. Let's just see if there's something that people want to ask. Yeah, I mean, writing courses on Programmer Network, yes. If Alex was paying you, Numinex, good luck. Well, for now, uploading a video, it would mostly be from YouTube because I didn't find a video service yet. But it's mostly, yes, you can attach a video, but you can't upload a video yet because that's very expensive, right? Streaming video is closest I found was few services that AWS offers, and right now, of course, I wouldn't do that because, again, if this project ever becomes something and if it ever generates a single penny, then maybe, but until then, that would be way too expensive. Video services are very expensive, yes. Because of huge bandwidth and huge processing costs and stuff like that, right? All right, let's chat about something if you guys want. I mean, if you have any questions, anything to add, any doubts. Yeah, so definitely I have already implemented it to work with YouTube, right? So next probably month or 2 or 3, we will not be building new features. We're gonna just polish everything. Then I have 2 or 3 courses prepared. So I'm gonna then focus on actually, right? The hardest thing about platforms like what I'm building here isn't the technical part, it's the content part, right? It's not very easy to build a new platform and just have everybody just switch to it, right? That's the hardest part, right? The help that I would need from people mostly is if you stick around, share feedback, if you every now and then when you have time, come by to the stream, say hi. That is the all help. That's already sufficient because it motivates me, right? Do you use agile or other strategies to plan? I mean, everything is agile, right? I mean, I don't think that there are companies out there other than in a very specific area, professions. You have certain professions, of course, where you have to still use waterfall principles, right? But in most cases, but I don't operate like this with Programmer Network, right? I have several videos on YouTube where I talk about it, but you have to be a lot of those a lot of generic videos, courses, articles are gonna tell you to plan. They're gonna tell you just create a plan and just stick to the plan. But this oftentimes is so harmful, right? That is oftentimes the main reason why people never finish anything, because you need to be careful not to set yourself up for failure, right? The biggest problem of planning is that you base your entire plan. I often compare planning to object-oriented programming. The reason why object-oriented programming failed for the most part, or why is it going to fail further on, is because it's built on a premise that you will fundamentally know your whole class model next 10 years. And of course you cannot predict the future, right? So it's the same with planning. You cannot plan so far ahead when you haven't brought yourself to anything where you can decipher how much of that can you actually accomplish. So you cannot say, hey, I'm going to start a new project, but you haven't written a single line of code, and you say, okay, now I'm going to plan all this. How can you plan? Based on what? Based on what data are you planning, and based on what data are you suggesting that you're going to stick to that plan? So that's why planning of side projects is very dangerous. Is because you first have to prove to yourself that you're capable of sticking to any continuity, any consistency, before you can be brave enough to plan, right? You understand what I mean? So I don't plan much with Programmer Network but there's a fundamental difference between me. I'm a very consistent, and I'm very continuity, and consistency for me is everything. So while I don't plan much, every occasion that I can, I show up and do progress. So whenever people ask me, hey Alex, how is it going with Programmer Network? I always say the same response. It's going forward, it's not going backwards. Sometimes it's going 10 lines of code a day, sometimes 3,000 lines of code a day, but it's always going, right? And that's all that matters. That's the entire plan that I personally need, right? Why? Well, because I can't plan things that I can't predict. I have a small kid, a wife, a full-time job, right? And it would be irresponsible of me for myself to plan too much, because I know that I would discourage myself, because that plan would fail once, it would fail 2 times, it would fail 5 times, and then I would say, oh my God, nothing that I'm planning is succeeding, this is not going to work out. So that's why I say all of these generic things where they tell you, oh, just create a plan, just create a huge plan. What are you going to do next 5 years? Prove to yourself first and foremost that you're capable of sticking to any continuity, even for a week, right? This reminds me of people who start the gym, who just started the gym. Like, they buy the new shoes, they go to Amazon, they buy all the equipment, and then they say, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 times a week. And of course that they will not. They fail before they even start. It's like, hey dude, how about you start jogging once a month, then 2 times a month, then 3 times a month, then once a week, 2 times a week, right? So it's the same with doing side projects, right? Always favor continuity, consistency over everything else. Motivation is overrated. Inspiration is overrated, because as I said many times in this stream, if you base your entire plan on a fallacy that you have to be motivated to do things, you will never do anything in your entire life, because you will never in your life consistently be motivated. Such motivation doesn't exist. If you try to make a plan on the assumption that you're going to always be inspired and motivated about whatever you want to do, don't even start, right? Because people who succeed are those people who can, in fact, achieve things when it's hard, when they're not motivated, when they're not inspired, when they're not fully rested, etc., 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 right? So if I could suggest one thing for your platform, would be adding dating to it. Yeah, maybe that would make somebody sign up. So I mean, again, it's a mixture, right? Of course that I'm not saying don't plan anything. I mean, we have a huge backlog, right? It's not that we're just randomly doing shit. It's not true, right? We have a huge backlog and I have a lot of nodes, right? Look at this. I have a lot of things, a lot of business ideas. So I write everything down, right? I write the bugs down. I write the features down. I have a rough assumption of the things that I want to do. But what I don't do is I don't come here and say, I'm going to clean this list in 3 days. I don't do that because I will not clean this list in 3 days because that's not possible, right? I don't have the time for that. I mean, I stream 2-3 times a week and this is the time that I spent building this platform, right? Because that's the time I have. If I had 10 hours a day, I would be building this platform 10 hours a day, but I don't. I have to feed my family, right? So programmer dating app, it would be like 3 women and 73,000 men. Those 3 women on the platform would be queens. Everybody would be just spamming them. That would be, yeah, exactly. Programmer Sims. There you go. www.programmersims.com. Let's date in JavaScript. Ugh. And the girl is like, ugh. Ugh. Disgusting. I only date the beautiful Rust guys. Dude, that would be amazing. Hey boy, are you writing JavaScript? Ooh. Ooh. Get the fuck out of here. I only date guys who are doing languages that came out past 3 days. JavaScript, oh my god. If the language is older than a week, she's not going to date you. This is a classical YouTube, Twitter influencer type of programmer. You're still using a language and a library that came out last week? Do you even code, man? Oh my god. Yeah. And then you have, you know, CNN, TechCrunch, and all of these websites running on WordPress, right? Yeah, I mean, they only have tens of millions of visits every day, but who cares about that, right? Ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. We are such a childish community. It's .no. Yeah, exactly. Fuck this community, man. We are hilarious. All right, guys. I think maybe we should round it up. I'm gonna be maybe with my wife a little bit and then do some coding off stream because there's a lot of so one thing that I've noticed with the stream, just to share it out loud, is that there are certain times in this stream when we get to certain tasks which are not streaming type of content. So for example, now I have to take all of those components that we moved from local front-end code base, programmer network code base to the Yale, to this open source library, and now I need to replace every single one of those references in my code. So there's certain tasks that I think I just have to do off stream because it's just boring. I mean, I literally die inside even when I'm doing it on my own, and then somebody watching me. Exactly, Leo. It's like, yeah, Numinex, I wish, but it's a little bit more complicated than that because I need to, you know, test certain things and I'm cleaning up, you know, it's not just replacing them now, it's also doing some manual testing, improving some certain areas around that a little bit more, right? So it's a very simple task. It's just literally like a robot repetitive, right? So this sort of stuff I've noticed, I've streamed a few times doing this and people, I mean, I don't blame them, right? I'm literally bored when I'm doing it myself. So that's why I no longer want to feel bad, because also I don't want to come here and have like 20 people just feeling bad for me and just staying there, right? So I think I need to find the time to do some of the boring shit off stream, and then also do something maybe a little bit more fun, and something where you guys can also give me the input. So it's kind of goes both ways. I want to hear the feedback from you when we're building things. That's how this platform has been built from the scratch, right? I mean, it's been built by the people, by the feedback of everybody, right? So yeah. My company is asking me to learn a no-code tool for their native app, which is something, I don't know, JavaScript and YAML. Do you think we will be bottleneck for my career growth? I mean, learning that, so Arrow, so this question is asked on YouTube right now. I mean, I don't think that's gonna benefit your career, right? At least not from a technical perspective. Now, every single task that you do every day at work can benefit you, right? So I think you just have to lift yourself a little bit over the technical things. Not all the experience as the developer that you gain has to be technical, right? So be open-minded, right? Even though that doesn't sound super fun, give it a shot, and then you're gonna gain a piece of experience, and you're gonna know, okay, in the next company you're gonna be like, hey, actually I've used this no-code tool, and this is their benefits, this is what they lack, this is what they have, right? So I wouldn't think that way, man. I mean, I think what formed me as a software engineer past 15 years is that I was genuinely open-minded about every job I had. I worked in a supercomputing center at the Technical University of Denmark. I worked for so many startups. I had my own company. I worked as a consultant, right? So I had so many of these different experiences, which gave me so many super valuable insights. I became better at so many things. And I'm not talking about programming. I'm talking about various other things, right? So I would say don't run away from things that you might assume are just boring or whatever. Not everything is about Reacts and Vue.js's and Go's and Rusts. The world of business and programming spans way above that, right? So give it a shot, man, and if you see it's something that doesn't fulfill you, something that you don't enjoy, don't do it, or try to find another job, right? But yeah, exactly. I mean, but the thing is, you have to, like I said many times, especially for those of you who are new to this stream, as professionals, right? Everybody has to learn how to find new motivation, how to get inspired, right? Because keep in mind that more experienced you get in programming, in technical things, more, how would I say it? More diminishing returns you get on that, and more you need to focus on business, on value, on communication, on soft skills, right? Because a junior's path is very clear. A junior's path is super clear. Junior is somebody who really needs to get better at programming because they want to get to some special place where they can be valuable. So that path is very defined. But when you're senior, it's vastly different, right? When you're senior, you fundamentally have to evolve in so many other areas. And it's no longer just programming. It's communication. It's, do you want to be a tech lead? Do you want to be a team lead? Do you want to become a CTO? Well, if you want to do this, if you ever want to become a CTO, you have to learn so many other things. You have to learn about the product, about the client, because CTO has no longer anything to do with coding. CTO now is a bridge between CEO and stakeholders and your investors, clients, and your engineering organization. I mean, I work as a tech lead, so my job 50% of the time is just to talk with my product manager to figure out what we do, to figure out our objectives and key results, etc., etc., etc. So no matter who you are watching this, remember that programming job is not just about programming, right? No, I mean, I think I could be a CTO already, right? It's just that I need to want that, right? Because being a CTO is a very stressful job, right? It's a very well-paid job, but it's a job that when you take it, you have to understand the consequence to your life of that. Right? So I could be a CTO already. No question about that. I feel I feel that already. I genuinely feel enough of confidence to take that, right? But the question is, do I want it right now? I don't think so. I have a small kid. I might have another kid soon, who knows? I hope so. And at least when my kid is maybe a little bit bigger, then I will probably either have my own company, or so next job is probably gonna be a CTO position anyway, right? But again, it's all about responsibility, because salary that you get really and mostly equals your responsibility. So if you hear that somebody is making like twice the money than you, understand that that person probably has 10 times the responsibility, because an average developer goes to work, gets some Kanban board, picks up a task, does the task, and does that every day for 30 days and goes home, right? Your responsibility is almost non-existent. Your responsibility is to write the same shitty code every day with different names and stuff like that. A management responsibility is to make decisions, and those decisions have high impact on everything, including the whole organization. And if you're making these decisions properly, you're being compensated for that. But the risk is a lot higher, right? Yeah, brainy, but earning, I never got into this industry, man, because of money. I mean, I'm literally just randomly sitting here today talking to you guys. I didn't earn this in a way that I was sitting in front of a computer my whole life. I was coding when I was very young, and I could have never conceptualized, even when I was coding as very young, that this would be my job, or that I would live off of this. So it was 100% coincidence, 100% like random. I never really planned to sit here and be doing this, right? So I just naturally found computers intriguing already in 1998 when I got my first computer, or 1997, I think. Since then, I just loved it, right? So no matter what, even if I had all the money in the world, I would still be doing this, right? Something related to this, right? So, and I already have enough of money that I have a decent life, and I don't need more money. I mean, would I want to have it? Of course I would want to have it, but would it make too much of a difference? I mean, maybe I would travel more, or be able to be more of a consumeristic oriented. I would just buy a new iPhone every year. But who gives a fuck about that shit anyway, right? I have all the fundamental things in life. I have a beautiful family, and I already feel that I have, if my life can remain like this for the rest of my life, I'm already happy, right? It doesn't have to change. Even if it's a little bit worse, I'm already happy, right? Numinix, 100%, man. And I don't know if you watched my recent videos, Numinix, but you're absolutely right. That is what really a great developer is. Fork Dev, thank you very much, man. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much for the sub, dude. And I mean, more than anything, thank you for appreciating the stream. That's what I mean when I say thank you. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, not to repeat some bullshit story, right? There's never been a time in human mentality when you don't want more. And this is what I truly wish that people can engrave in their heads. Because, you're going to have some goals and you're going to reach those goals, but then you're going to have another goals. So you will always seek for more. And if you can defeat that type of mentality, and if you can just kind of create some sort of self-awareness for yourself to realize of all the things you currently have, because humankind is cursed into this thinking of all the things we don't have, all the things that you wish for. But very, very rarely I feel that most of us, we don't reflect on the things we have, right? And this is unhealthy, because you're constantly seeking for something, right? Oh, more money, more this, more that. I mean, for what, right? And then you turn back when you're 60, 70, and you're like, fuck, where did my life go, right? So this type of philosophy, I think it's just good that we have discussions like this, is because it's healthy for people to oftentimes focus on things they actually have, not on the things that they seek for, because you will always be seeking for more. There's never going to be time in your entire life where you will just not be seeking for anything. Well, if that happens, you probably will be dead or something like that, right? So that's kind of how I think, right? You just have to kind of find that balance and be happy, man, right? Because but yeah, that's how I think. That's at least how I think. Fuck it. You can either be led by your own self, by your own beliefs, or you can be led by commercials, marketing, about community and what social world tells you, right? Exactly, it is, Lex, it is. But that's the thing, right? We all own ourselves, right? We all can take any path we want. And if we can bring up these discussions with ourselves, amongst each other, with our children, with our partners, things don't have to be that way, right? I originally, I wasn't born in Denmark. I originally come from the Balkans, right? So I lived through a war and through not having food on the table for a month, to living now life where I can afford almost everything. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum, right? Quite the radical side of spectrum, right? And one fundamental thing that always made me happy is family and close friends, right? Because I saw this picture somewhere, a little blank paper with like just bunch of dots on it. And one of the dots was your family and your close friends. And all the other dots were your life, jobs, different companies, girlfriends, boyfriends, failures, successes. But then it says, no matter what, the only dot you can ever really come back to, for the most part, is this one, your family, right? So I think there are some of those philosophies which are fundamentally true for most people. I know that somebody is going to come here and say, shut the fuck up, dude. Family is not for everybody. Sure, of course not. I agree. I'm not saying anything that anything is absolute, right? But I think fundamentally, as a human race, as a humankind, I think it is true for the most part. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? We are, all of us are a victim of consumerism, like somebody said, and that's a disease, right? And I mean, it's no stranger. I mean, it's like completely logical, right? You have the whole system of economy that's trying to make you spend the money. I mean, most of my family, Lex, also lives in the US, right? And I know how they live, I mean, right? Have you been to humancondition.com? No, I've never heard of that. No. Most of those opinions that I share with you are just my own. I love critical thinking. And of course, some of the books. I love philosophy, especially Stoic philosophy. If you haven't, you should read about Stoic philosophy, or whatever you pronounce it in English. This is the paradox of life, right? And this has been the thing since for ages, right? When you go to school, you're being taught information. You're not being taught how to think, critical thinking, problem-solving skills, right? This is the biggest value. This is the biggest thing you can give. Best gift you can give to yourself is to think, right? To not put yourself to lefts and rights and ups and downs and greens and reds. You don't have to fit any bucket, man. Just be a person, be an individual that thinks with your own brain. You don't have to classify yourself with this ideology or this ideology, right? When I talk to people, right, I literally just wait for 2-3 minutes just to see if I'm talking to a person or ideology. Because if I'm talking to ideology, there's no point continuing that discussion, because I know that person came with a set of predefined opinions already. So there's no point having a discussion with a person that made up their mind already about everything, right? It's meaningless, right? So ask yourself, are you the person that gives answers based on some true thinking, or are you a person that just already decided everything? And you're not even listening, you're already just like, oh, right? Because it's very difficult to discuss things with a person who is ideologically completely stuck in their own mind, right? I mean, the change starts on individualism is everything, man. Individualism is everything, right? I think that there's no such thing as we, right? I'm a huge believer in individuals and individual responsibility, right? I mean, think about it this way. The thing is, right, I think that we as a humankind are brought up in a way where we're constantly waiting for some president, some I don't know, some leader, somebody who's gonna just solve everything for us. We're just waiting for Jesus, for Messiah, for Muhammad, for whoever, right? But fundamentally, the only person who can change things for you is yourself, right? So I truly believe in individual responsibility, because, you know, if you want to change anything in the world, you have to put yourself in position of power. You have to bring yourself to the position where you can make decisions which affect global things. You cannot be standing on a street with a bottle of beer and expecting to be changing the world. You cannot be waking up as an adult at 4 p.m. because you played games for 20 hours and you want to bitch about the world, right? You don't have that right. So it's fairly simple, right? If you want to change anything, first you have to change yourself, your own beliefs and your own world. Then you can change, you can affect your close friends. Then you can change them. And then you guys can get yourself to the position of power, and maybe if you want, affect global and general things. It's such a simple logic, right? You cannot be completely irresponsible in life and then expecting to be changing anything. That's unfair, right? If you can't manage your own life, how can you manage other people's lives? That's completely nonsense, right? My mother drove the phrase, the day you accept responsibility is the day your life will change. 100%. I've already tested the, we have early access to Dream Data for the, yes. Yeah, Gemini presentation was complete lie, but I think it's gonna be fine. But it's not gonna be better than OpenAI. No, it was fake. Yes. But I mean, in simple words, this stream really, I mean, I've been streaming for a year, and this is my philosophy, right? And this is how this whole stream is. We are trying to stay realists here. We don't sell any bullshit. This is how I think. This is how I work. Lex, thank you so much, man, for coming around. Whenever you have the time, please pass by. Very good points, man. And I'm very sorry that I'm the only one who has the podium to talk. It feels a little bit like a monologue, but that's how it is. I guess I'm the one streaming, so that's how it works, I guess. Likewise, man. Likewise, dude. Thank you so much, man, again. Have a great time, and I'll also leave in like 5-10 minutes, so let's just, yeah. But yeah, overall, that's how it is. I think we had nice discussions. We haven't coded past 10-15 minutes, but Mbit, my friend, good evening. That's just how it is. Yeah. Give me just 1 second. I mean, I'm honestly very happy with ChatGPT. I think it's gonna take a while for anybody to challenge OpenAI. I think I mean, I've been using Bard and a lot of, you know, at Dream Data where I work. We are a Google partner here in Denmark, so we have early access to most things that come out. And I've tried, you know, Vertex AI. I've tried a lot of we're using machine learning algorithms at Dream Data, you know, as well. And I think OpenAI is way ahead still. Isla Croft, likewise, thank you so much for sticking around. I mean, it's what can I say? Thank you as much as you thank me. I thank you as well. It's so fun, and I enjoy the streams when people are active, when they talk. There's nothing worse than when I'm streaming and everybody is just completely silent. It's okay. There are times when I enjoy that because then I can focus on actually building things. But now when it's a weekend stream, I often just yeah. I mean, for sure, Numinix. I mean, competition is gonna be there for sure. I think we are developers, right? So we think that we are like we are still in a very early stage of AI. I'm sure that things are gonna get spicy and things will you know get very competitive. So it's not gonna be one-sided game, right? For sure. But I think for now, for at least a couple of months, I think OpenAI is still gonna be ahead. And I can see that because I use these services just like yourself, Numinix, every day, and ChatGPT is just better. I just must say. I mean, I used Bard. I've used Vertex AI with recently we had a hackathon at Dream Data. So a colleague of mine, Iker, and we built a little tool using Vertex AI, BigQuery, Google Cloud Run, and what else did we use? And I was not very happy with the outcome of. We built our own large language model. We tried to train it. We trained it. We left it for I think around 24 hours to train, but it failed miserably. So. Ayo, thank you very much. New cookies for my head. Yeah, that's good. I'm very happy to hear that. That's at least the effect that I would love to leave on people whenever I can. That's always very motivational. Thank you very much for saying that. Nice. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna head off. How long have I been streaming? I never know. 2.5 hours. I think it's enough. I would like to social platform for devs. Exactly. The dumb gamer. I'm sorry, I have to go. You just joined, but that's how it is. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. Worst case, Monday. But I think I will smack at 2 or 3 hours tomorrow as well. So yeah, that's what it is. I wish you guys best. Thank you so much for being here. Forge, thank you very much for the sub. Thank you everybody for your subs, for your follows, for your comments and everything. And I wish you guys best. Be smart, work hard, and I'll see you guys in another one. Okay. My pleasure, Leo. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here. Ayla and you as well. Thank you, everybody. All right. Peace, guys. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.